Alright guys, well the day is here and we're finally at the last step of the full bolt-on process where we're going to tune the 135i. As Aiden said in the first video of the series, we're going to be tuning the car with a flasher manufactured by MHD. The tuning is done through the MHD app on the phone, and we actually recorded the app to show how the process looks like. But unfortunately, Aiden's phone ended up breaking and we lost the file. So I'm going to try as best as I can to explain the process at a very high level. To get started, you first need the MHD Super License for N55E. Make sure you get the N55E if you own a 135i. The N55 license without the letter E at the end is for other BMW models with the N55 motor. This also means you need to get the app titled MHD N55 E-Series as opposed to other chassis codes. You also need the Wi-Fi adapter that plugs into the OBD2 port and connect to the MHD app. If you're an Android user, you can either use the Wi-Fi adapter or go with the old traditional way of hooking up to a cable. But for iPhone users, the adapter is the only option. I won't be going into the specific steps that needs to be taken to tune the car. The user guide written by MHD is actually really detailed and easy to follow. So I advise you to reference the manual if you're actually going through this process. What I want our viewers to get out of this is to walk through the process at a very high level to see if this is something that you'd like to go through. Spoiler alert, if you've done the maintenance and the bolt-on upgrades like we did leading up to this video, the tune will be a walk in the park. As you make your way through the app, you'll eventually get to this screen where you can flash an OTS map. These are your off-the-shelf maps that have been tried and tested by MHD. Since we've installed a downpipe and upgraded the front mount intercooler, we went with Stage 2 Plus, and that supposedly boosts the car up to 390 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. After you select the stage, it's time to flash, and you have three different options: full, long, and map rights. Since we're installing MHD for the first time, we have to do a full write, which can take a while to complete, so a battery charger is a must for this one. You also want your phone to be in airplane mode while the flashing is in process. So that's about it. Like I said, I left out a lot of details intentionally, but this isn't meant to be an in-depth step-by-step DIY video that you're probably pretty accustomed to with our channel. This is just to give you an idea of how the process looks like. With that said, going forward, I'll let the video take it from here. Good luck, guys. Is this video recorded from here?
Yep.
Oh, it's done.
And she lives. Once the car starts, I think that's a great sign. We'll work out whatever bugs we need to work out. But it started, guys, so I'm super relieved. Car starts, car's ready to go. The exhaust does sound a lot deeper. Everything looks really good. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are finally done with the full bolt-on series. As you guys know, we did a ton of maintenance to this car, and rightfully so. It's a 160,000 mile daily driver for me. And we actually put 1,500 miles since the full bolt-on, and I have to tell you, this video is about the review of the full bolt-on and my experience so far with the 135i full bolt-on to the N55, and I gotta tell you, it's amazing. Let's go for a ride. I have to tell you, the first thing that you really notice is the amount of power that comes on as soon as you mash the throttle. It's so much more power on tap than when the N55 was stock. And still, we're utilizing the stock turbo, obviously, right, with additional boost. But where the N55's Borg-Warner turbo really kind of falls short is top of the red line here, and this car revs to 7,000. Right when you get to about 5,500, that's when it kind of tapers off, so you're not really experiencing that full boost. But the mid-range in this car now is completely changed. You can feel the power, and certainly the sound and everything that's coming with the downpipe installation, as well as the tune that we have. We have the burble set on soft, but let's run through the modifications that we've done so far. If you haven't watched the previous channels, make sure to check that out, because we go into depth about, you know, the DIY procedure, the wrenching, and also the comparison videos as well with the M2 competition. But number one, we already had the Berger Motorsport intake to this car, and then we installed the Burke Technology catback. And the M55 135i's actually come with the mid pipes that are unrestricted, so that's a great thing about it. But the things that we've added in this video series are the front mount intercooler by VRSF. It's a 7.5 stepped intercooler, which is the big boy. Man, every time I step on the gas, I kind of lose my train of thought. But yes, the VRSF downpipe as well. It's a catless downpipe, and then we have the front mount intercooler. We went through an assortment of different maintenance, all the way from the water pump, the valve cover, brand new valve cover, not just the gasket. And obviously we went with the BMW, original BMW part for that. And then we did the spark plugs, coils. We also did some of the coolant lines, as well as the coolant fixtures that were already on its way out. We did a complete coolant flush to this car. We did the oil pan gasket. Hasn't leaked a drop of oil in this car after 1,500 miles, which is a big surprise. And then the oil filter housing gasket, right? We ran into a couple of hiccups trying to take the oil filter housing gasket off, especially the bottom Torx bolt. That was a major pain to take off, but we did it all, right? I mean, we took care of the major items as well as the small minor items that we kind of ran into. We even did the turbo to intercooler hard pipe, because the plastic piece was kind of wobbly and we knew that was going to cause a boost leak. And then the GF Plus, diverter valve plus, right? Man, does that make the turbo sound so much better. I know that, you know, you guys might not be able to hear it, but I can just tell you that is a plastic piece and it's very prone to leaking. That's why we went ahead, while the water pump was being replaced, we decided to replace the diverter valve and upgrade it. You're basically utilizing the stock diverter valve, but you're replacing the piston with a solid brass piece, so you won't have any boost leaks there, right? And then again, the pipe, the boost pipe that goes from the intercooler to the turbo, we replaced that as well. So we took care of a lot of, you know, failure prone items to make sure that when we did go full bolt on, or even like a pure stage 2 later on down the line, if that's ever a thing that we're going to do to this car, we did all those maintenance items. And man, am I glad that we tackled the maintenance to address the failure points, just so that, you know, I can drive this car in comfort, because it's, again, this is a daily driver, right? Even though we're going up against the M2 competition, I'm a little bit anxious as well as nervous how this car is going to perform. But let me just tell you, Daniel might be a little bit scared, because this car is pushing somewhere in the range of 375. There's a slight bit of clutch slippage. If you just heard that, there's a slight bit of clutch slippage going on, especially in higher gears. So that's probably the next maintenance item that we have to think about doing on this car. But, oh man, this car just rockets forward now. Let's just give ourselves a little bit of room here, and then just kind of... Oh yeah, it's a whole different experience altogether with the full bolt-on. And I know many people have full bolt-on on their M54, M55, but this is my first time, right? This is the only turbo car that I own out of the 6 BMWs that I have, and this is not an M car. Let's go through that again, right? I'm not putting an M sticker or M badge in the back and pretend that this is an M car. This is a 1 Series car with manual seats, right? Manual transmission. The only lux that you can probably think about is the standard navigation, which was garbage. I mean, it's not garbage, right? For 2011, it was probably adequate, but it's a 10-year-old car. So in terms of speaking about that, we did install a CarPlay, which isn't working properly, so we're waiting for the new unit to come. But the performance of full bolt-on, absolutely worth it. The amount of money we spent, I'm sure we'll have a tally for you guys on what that cost was, and we'll have a separate video kind of focusing on how much money we've spent on the 135i. I know we probably saved at least we probably saved in labor a ton of money by doing everything ourselves, right? And that's the whole reason why our channel is called Drive, Wrench, Repeat, is because exactly that, right? We want to drive this car, my daily driver, reliably, but at the same time, we want to have fun with this thing. And that was the whole intent of having this car up and running. But MHD flash tune, I went with the Stage 2 Plus after all the different full bolt-on modifications that we did. And that was a pretty simple kind of tune. It's an off-the-shelf tune, right? So basically they're taking what you have installed and then basically doing a quick kind of flash tune through your phone. And if you guys saw in that video, you know, obviously I bought the Wi-Fi dongle so that I can just plug it in and make it work. And it was relatively painless, very easy to do. I recommend MHD tune to anybody that's thinking about just flashing their car and getting a little more power if you're stock, or do what we did, right? Go full bolt-on. But when you go full bolt-on, you're putting a little more stress to the car, so the reliability definitely is something to think about. And that's why our series was really focused on the maintenance aspect of it, because Daniel's car, the M2 competition, is a brand new car, right? It's got 6,000 miles, and he really doesn't need anything. Oh man, let's hear that diverter valve. And you know, the whole reason why you have the full bolt-on, and the whole reason why we wanted a fast daily driver, and to benchmark it against the M2 competition. I mean, these cars are getting ridiculously cheap. About 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, you can pick these cars up for relatively around anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 for, you know, decent mileage N55 or N54 cars, right? My choice for the N55 was just basically 2 things, right? Reliability and a lot of the updates that the previous model didn't have. But the main difference is that it's an M55 versus an M54. You know, we went through the whole what this car is, right? What a 2011 is, and we showed you guys that. But you know, the test is coming soon. The M2 competition, the benchmark, it's coming soon, guys. But I have zero regret about going full bolt-on with this car, because man, does it feel alive now. I almost feel like this is the way that this car should have came. This is the way that this car should have been equipped with a little more juice, right? Because if you look at the traditional M2, the non-competition M2, that's an M55 car, and that's pushing significantly more horsepower out of the box than this 300 to the crank that this car has. And you know, I know the M2, traditional M2 guys are gonna say, yeah, M55 is a great motor. It really is. No doubt about it. It's a fantastic car, a fantastic motor to kind of work with. You can probably squeeze, you know, 500 real horsepower out of the stock block relatively easy, but you know, you have to have the supporting fuel modifications to it. But man, this car with the full bolt-on, it's just so much joy, so much fun to lay into the gas and feel it. It's a night and day difference. And if you're thinking about it, guys, definitely go do it. And we're hoping that our video series really helped you guys get a good grip of how some of the process was, right? I think the intercooler installation kind of freaked me out a little bit because the piping was so close to the pulleys and the belt. There was literally about a ½ inch of clearance there, and not the most comforting, but at the same time, I think, you know, we did really well doing the modifications necessary. Yeah, it gets going. Yeah, it gets going. You can definitely get into trouble fast in this car. I mean, we just did a quick launch from. Yeah, I mean that wasn't even a major push, but wow, it moves. This car definitely moves, and man, it's a joy to drive every time I get on this car now. I can't tell you how happy I am that I went down this path of the full bolt-on. There's no regrets whatsoever, even though, you know, we dropped the front subframe and we did so much maintenance to this car, probably overkill at some point, right? Because we replaced things that we didn't really need to replace, but I think that was necessary to make the car reliable as possible, even in the future state. But again, next video, we'll be focusing on bringing the M2 competition against the 135i and some rolling races, because I still think, you know, with 400 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque on the M2 competition and just being a more superior platform to start with, I think that car is going to definitely be a better car, a faster car, but we shall see. Right? All right, guys, so this wraps it up for this video of the full bolt-on 1,500 mile review. We hope that you enjoyed this video. Many more to come. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, support our channel, and we'll see you soon.